Authorized Ford and Toyota dealerships serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh. Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is the 9th day of July 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you have celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. For those of you who are not feeling well and are either at home or at a medical facility, we want to wish you a speedy recovery as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines will be open, and as usual, 9 times out of 10, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Before I introduce my guest this morning, I want to share with you the latest COVID-19 update that was issued yesterday, the 8th of July, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that 298 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported on Wednesday, the 7th of July 2021. There were no positive results. To date, 94,277 COVID-19 vaccinations had been given in total in the Cayman Islands. Of that number, 48,764, or 69% of an estimated 71,100, had at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine, and approximately 64% have completed the 2-dose course. But of course, as we see in the news, that the uptake, the number of persons being vaccinated, those numbers are extremely low at this point in time. And of course, it is important for us to get those numbers up. So with that, in conjunction with this report, we will also be talking about the Premier's address at the legislative luncheon yesterday, hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, and we will talk about what he had to say at that luncheon, and the important part of it has to do with his announcement of the reopening plan for the Cayman Islands, safely reopening the Cayman Islands, and the various phases of that reopening plan. 5 phases. Actually, when you look at it, it's actually 6 phases, because you have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and the welcome back phase as well. We will be talking about that. We will be talking about the contents of the Premier's speech as well. And of course, that conversation will take place with none other than Dr. Steve Macfield. Doc, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all your your fans in the For the Record land and in the Cayman diaspora, and for all of those listening to you this morning and who always listen to you every 3 days of the week. And good morning to everyone. Yes, it's great to know that the government has revealed their plans to the public. I think what the Premier seems to be thinking and what he seems to be trying to put into use is for for us all to come together to meet the twin obligations of our people, to give them now what they need, and to provide them in the future with what they must have to compete and to succeed. And that is jobs and opportunities and education and training. I think, and I was so happy to see that at least that is out. Mm-hmm. And that the country will be open up probably at the end of the year. I know I am happy because my family has been away now since 2019. I haven't seen my grandchildren and my kids, mm-hmm. And they're anxious to come to see their grandfather. Yes. So I am so happy about that, and I believe that he has said that they will have the opportunity to come here after October, November, because, the kids are under 12 are unvaccinated, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. and they will now not have to be in quarantine when they arrive. So that is something great. I think we should talk about that this morning.
Definitely.
And we should talk about the pros and cons of it, and engage our people into see what they think about it.
Mm-hmm. And I know that many persons are focused on this reopening plan because as soon as it was announced and he advised everyone where they could actually access the document, it was going like hotcakes on social media, WhatsApp, and everyone was basically just taking it and sharing it. So it goes to show you the interest that people had in that. But he had many important things to say in relation to his speech as well. And, while this is important in terms of the reopening plan, it has to work in conjunction with some of the other plans that he indicated that the government wants to put in place as well. I believe we have a caller. We can take that caller before we go to our first commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. And Mr. Markfield, how are you, sir?
Good morning, sir.
O.C., I've been very disappointed over the years with our politicians, but I listened carefully yesterday to the press briefing of Mr. Panton, and I must tell you that I was very impressed. And I hope that a year or two down the road, I am not disappointed in that press briefing. So I am still hoping for the best for this government and hope that they come through to the people of this country and just make sure that we all leave it better for the people of this country. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Good
caller.
morning.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, I think the caller is right, and I think what the people wanted was a bridging candidate, a bridging leader, who's not too vulnerable, because politics is not a cowardly pursuit, and you have to have a unifying figure, because polarizing figures only cause problems in your country, and you have to have someone who is, for all reasons, who is moral, and who has principles. I was listening to a town hall meeting with Mandela some time ago. It was 3 months after he walked out of the prison, and he was in the United States, and he had a town hall meeting in Washington, D.C. And this is what he said. He said, those persons who can change their principles depending on who they're dealing with will not make good leaders of a nation. That's what he said. And so I'm looking forward to the ideal of this premier and the principles that he's bringing forward. And I believe that he has the depth of the intellectual curiosity and the process that is required to heal our country, because that's what we need. We need to focus now on a new unifying power so that we all can achieve peace and order, and that will inspire our children and for generations to come. This is the chance we have now. And I think that we should let our intellectual progress create a movement across the country that will dignify the personal bearings of all our people, and bearing in mind that we are a people who have come a long way, and that indeed we must respect our traditions that should always be present in our minds as we go along. And I'm looking forward to this premier unifying the country and bridging the gap between the different factions of the country.
And I'm going to pull some excerpts from his speech as well, because he highlighted that he didn't pull any punches in terms of mentioning or dealing with the issue that to a certain extent there are two Caymans.
Yes, that is a fact.
He acknowledged
that's a reality,
that, and also said what needs to be done to rectify that situation as well. So we're going to find excerpts in there. But before we go to our first commercial break, very quickly, I want to share with our listening audience also the Health Services Authority's extension of COVID-19 testing clinic opening hours. This is for testing for COVID-19, and it says that the Health Services Authority has extended the hours of the COVID-19 testing clinic at the Cayman Islands Hospital Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. and until 11 a.m. and Sundays 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that is prior to the Tuesday flight only. The online appointment booking calendar is available for the public to schedule their free COVID-19 tests with results delivered by secure email within 24 hours directly to the patients. They're also pointing out that appointments must be made 2 business days in advance, as all persons being tested must be pre-registered. They're not accepting any walk-ins. All persons tested will receive results via email within approximately 24 hours. As an added benefit, all persons being tested are also enrolled into the free My HSA Patient Portal, which provides 24 hours secure access to your health information as well as other convenient features. Travelers are reminded to check the requirements of the countries you are traveling to, including the required time frame for a negative PCR COVID-19 test, and book your appointment within the required time frame. So they have given us the dates there, and the testing is for free. And we know that there are other jurisdictions, if you have to have a PCR test when you're leaving there, it is certainly not for free. We've heard instances of persons paying up to, $200 for a PCR test as well. Okay, time for us to take our first commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll continue with Dr. Steve McFeel after this short commercial break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Did you know that during the administration of Commissioner Hearst from 1907 to 1912, substantial sums of funds were spent for the expansion and improvements of roads throughout the Cayman Islands? Our history says that Northside has been fairly remote thanks to reefs in the sea and swamps on land. But in December 1909, a 12-foot wide road was laid out from the Grape Tree Point to Oman Bay, and in 1910, work began on the road from Oman Bay to Frank Sound.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Introducing the 35th President of Rotary Central Cayman Islands, Ms. Corleen Goodman Hoptroff. Our new President Corleen and her team will lead us through the new Rotary year, July 2021 through July 2022. Another year of community purpose and fulfillment. We, Rotary Central, look ahead knowing that with your help, the best is yet to come. President Corleen leads us as we join over 1.2 million Rotarians across 35,000 Rotary clubs around the world under a new Rotary International theme, a new banner: Serve to Change Lives. Serve to change lives in our community, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. Serve to change lives, yours and ours. Knowing this, the best is yet to come.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast, and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com, or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve McPhail. We're going to discuss the Premier's address to the legislative luncheon in the Cayman Islands yesterday, and while the Premier, went on to talk about the COVID-19 situation and to commend businesses and individuals who did their part to help the communities during that very, very critical period in during the lockdown, when persons for the first time found themselves unable to work, and he certainly commended them, for that. And then he went on talk about the business community as well, about keeping persons employed as much as they could. He said that during the past 16 months, there have been many private sector examples of generosity, service, sacrifice, and resilience, too numerous to list. But the government indicated to them that the government applauded them for what they did. He went on to say about our collective commitment as a community to put people first and the private sector's adherence to the myriad COVID-19 regulations meant that we are one of the few countries in the world that has effectively contained COVID-19, making the Cayman Islands one of the most attractive places to visit, to work, and to live. He went on to say that despite the sacrifice and resilience of the private sector, we couldn't ignore the fact that COVID-19 lay bare the fragility of our social constructs. Nor could we ignore the deep fissures in healthcare coverage while some of our social support systems cracked under the volume of new clients. The pandemic magnified the dramatic inequalities that have lay hidden underneath the statistics of record-breaking economic growth and opulent prosperity. The pandemic exposed the two parallel realities that were both Cayman. And I'm going to read that again, Doc, because this is important. That, it is so succinctly put, and at the same time that the way that it is worded, he didn't pull any punches with it. And I'm going to repeat, here it says, we couldn't ignore the fact that COVID-19 lay bare the fragility of our social constructs, nor could we ignore the deep fissures in healthcare coverage while some of our social support systems cracked under the volume of new clients. The pandemic magnified the dramatic inequalities that have lay hidden underneath the statistics of record-breaking economic growth and opulent prosperity. The pandemic exposed the two parallel realities that were both Cayman. Do we recall the other time that those fissures and those two those two parallel realities were exposed during Hurricane Ivan?
Yes, exposed and lasted for a while, but as soon as we rebuilt, it went back to its old place, and people went back to their respective roles and their respective neighborhoods and forgot about the other neighborhoods.
Got right back into the shell after that. Yes.
It's very commendable to the new premier. I think what he is trying to do is to build a nation of hope, peace, happiness, and prosperity for everyone. And I hope that he succeeds in that, because, as Mandela said, it seems impossible until it's done. And I hope that he gets it done. And I'm for one, and I know that you we're trying to support the government and him as in our radios and our on the radio here as much as possible. I am so happy, because what he does is gives me faith again, gives me hope and faith again in my country, and that is very positive, and I think that the journey that he's on will only bring success to everyone, and I'm glad that he has outwardly stated the reality that we are facing, that we face today. Certainly, a lot of us have taken the political blows and trying to come to the place where he is today. I remember his cousin, the late Ormond Panton, also tried to get where his cousin is today, and that is very commendable to him. I have great hopes in this new young premier, and I applaud him for it.
Certainly, folks. It's the top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will continue to critique the Premier's delivery at the legislative luncheon hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. I believe DART was involved in as a sponsor as well. That conversation will continue after our 8 o'clock news, so please stay tuned.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 7:59. Ooh, this is delicious. What is it?
It's the Sriracha Cheddar Plant Perk Spread. I got it at Foster's.
And these crackers? I've never seen them before. Yum.
Yeah, these are green mustache crackers, and they're both vegan and gluten-free. I'm finding all my new favorites in the Foster's Finds catalog, and they're super easy to spot. I just look out for the shelf signs as I shop.
Foster's Finds are exclusively available at Foster's Camana Bay. Visit fosters.ky/finds to discover your new favorite products. Foster's, better choice because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended 30th of April, 2021, the various life cycle funds have provided returns between 10.5% and 43.2%. And our all-in expense ratio for year ended 30th of June, 2020 is currently the lowest it's ever been. 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Cayman sees another major shooting and its second homicide in a week. Just after 1:45 this morning, police and other emergency services were sent to a report of a shooting at Vic's Bar on Seymour Drive in Georgetown. It was reported that multiple people had been shot, with 5 carried to the hospital for treatment. One is believed to be in critical condition. The others have sustained non-life-threatening injuries. A 6th person was fatally shot and pronounced dead at the scene. As a result, an investigation is underway with the partial closure of Seymour Road to the public. Traffic is being diverted through Commercial Avenue, and the public is being asked to avoid the closed area of Seymour Road until the crime scene investigation is complete and the road reopened. On July 1st, 36-year-old Mark-Andre Ebanks was shot and killed in a late-night attack that also saw 3 injured. A 31-year-old Georgetown man has been arrested on suspicion of murder in relation to the July 1st attack. Make sure to stay with Radio Cayman as we follow this developing story. Sister Islands District Commissioner Mark Tibbett says Tropical Storm Elsa's early season threat was a dry run and reminder for hurricane readiness.
Although we did not experience much from Tropical Storm Elsa, I just got to say that I'm most pleased and proud of the preparations by all within the community. It was definitely a good reminder for each and every one of us as to what we need to do going forward as well with our preparations. Also, again, being most pleased with the participation, the dedication, the commitment by all, and just to say that we look forward to the same as we move throughout the season.
Cayman Brac resident Percy Worm says he's ready for any potential hurricane impact.
Me and my family, as soon as the season is beginning to start, we stock up and drive goods and canned goods and that kind of stuff. And we have our own little storm shelter up on top of the bluff, so if push comes to shove, we take the family up there, you know.
Audio there courtesy of CIGTV. The tropical storm watch for the Sister Islands was discontinued Monday morning by the National Weather Service. The storm passed just north of the islands. For more on hurricane preparedness, head to caymanprepared.ky. The Youth Services Unit promises to keep students engaged this summer with its annual Teen Summit. The 2-week immersive experience will keep campers fully engaged in a range of interesting activities, interactive tours, games, and learning opportunities. Designate head of the Youth Services Unit, James Miles.
Week 1 of Teen Summit is called Beloved Isle. It focuses on our culture and heritage. So you get to visit a lot of sites around the island and learn about some things that are uniquely Caymanian. Week 2 is called Onward. It's a leadership vision type summit where young people can get motivational talks, give back to the community. One of the highlights of that week airs our delivery for Meals on Wheels. Yeah, but there's tons of stuff like scavenger hunts and kickball tournaments.
The Teen Summit takes place July 19th through the 30th and will run daily from 8 until 3. To register, call 943-1127 or email info.ysu@gov.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Taliban militants have captured one of the main border crossings between Afghanistan and Iran. An Afghan customs official said all activities at the Islam Kala crossing have been stopped. The Defense Ministry said security forces were trying to recapture the site. The Taliban have vowed never to allow other militant groups to use Afghan territory as a platform to target neighbouring countries. A spokesman claimed the group controlled around 85% of Afghan territory. At least 52 people have been killed after a fire broke out in a food processing factory near Bangladesh's capital Dhaka. Hundreds of workers were in the building on Thursday when the blaze began. The Institute for National Security Strategy, a think tank in South Korea, says North Korea has rejected donations of the AstraZeneca vaccine. It said Pyongyang was concerned about the potential side effects. Thailand is tightening restrictions in Bangkok and 9 surrounding southern provinces. The measures are designed to curb the third wave of coronavirus, which saw a high number of new cases and deaths on Thursday. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The 2021 census begins on the 10th of October. Every person in the Cayman Islands will be counted. The population count and data are protected and authorized by the Statistics Act. The information is confidential and cannot be shared with any law enforcement agency. Every person counts, no matter who you are or where you live. So have your say in the 2021 census.
2021 census. Everyone counts.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know you must ensure all utensils are washed with detergent and rinsed with hot water if they make contact with flood water? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Song Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 82%. The barometric pressure is 30.02 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 8 knots. Overnight low temperature was 81 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate easterly winds and seas will continue across the Cayman area due to a ridge of high pressure dominating the weather over the Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area moving towards the west. The forecast for today and tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s today and will fall to the upper 70s tonight. Winds will be southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 8:37, low tide this afternoon at 3:17, and a high tide again tonight at 10:15. The sun will set this evening at 6 minutes after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:55. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday evening.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, break it down. Once the long-term goals are set, work backwards to set smaller and more manageable goals. These should be specific, measurable, and achievable. For example, study in the library for 1 hour 3 times per week instead of study more. Consider what you need to do daily, weekly, or by the end of the year in order to succeed. Smaller goals allow you to focus on the essential steps today to ensure you are prepared when tomorrow's opportunities become available.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. On Course Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Traffic is busy coming off of the Esterly Tibbetts Highway, especially heading towards the Butterfield roundabout. And if you continue on to the Industrial Park area, traffic is busy. Avoid the area if you can. Elsewhere, we're looking at Shamrock Road flowing moderately, as well as coming off of Rex Crichton Boulevard. Steady traffic further down on the Linford Pearson Highway and coming off of Agnes Way. Traffic is steady but flowing coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, and busy traffic on Huldah Avenue. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing moderately, and Edward Street moderate flow of traffic. And traffic is moderate in both directions on Owen Roberts Drive and in and out of Georgetown on Shedden Road. Not looking too bad as traffic flowing at a good pace. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or ticket.
Things just got a bit hotter on Island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
We asked 100 people what they would do with a little extra time. Top answers included hang with friends, sleep, volunteer, walking on the beach, watch TV. But the odd thing is, no one said, stand in line to pay my bill. Funny that. Now Logic introduces Logic My Account. Pay online, view bill history, schedule automatic payments, and more. Go to logic.ky/my account and pay online, not stand in line. Logic My Account. Go on. Give yourself a little extra time. Bake a cake, browse the web, yoga, spring clean.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years, ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McPhail. We are discussing the Premier's presentation, his speech to the legislative luncheon hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to pick out some more parts of that speech as well. He also spoke about the fact of seeing those disparities and everything was one of the reasons why he decided that he would again run for elected office. Mm-hmm. And he goes on to speak about the fact that each member of his government has pledged to be driven by and held accountable to the guiding values that the PAC represents when making individual and collective decisions for the people of the Cayman Islands. He went on to say that those values constantly come into play whether we are discussing education, new technologies, healthcare, the elderly, and the indigent, all facets of government and life. He went on to say that we need a new way of doing things that will give us new opportunities for our people to succeed. The current model has some broken parts. We need to change how business is done. He went on to say that on the campaign trail that they spoke independently, but once they formed the government, they came together to find that they essentially wanted many things of the same, better outcomes for the citizens of the country. And he went on to point out what the acronym PAC stands for: people-driven, accountable, competent, transparent, and goes on to say that these values or guiding principles helped us align our objectives and shape policies, and helped when it came time to make the tough decisions on resource allocations. Went on to say that despite wishful thinking of our critics, we are evolving into a team with shared vision and clear sense of purpose for our beloved Cayman Islands. I'm going to pause there for a second and just focus on that part where he says that despite the wishful thinking of our critics. I will say that I have been one of those critics of independence forming a government, and I have stated publicly before, and I state again, that I am not aware of any jurisdiction, any country where you have had independence, form, complete independence, form a government. And I wish them well, and it will be a novelty if at the end of the day they hold together for the full period of time and achieve and accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. It will be a challenge because you are dealing with personalities. While at the same time you may have a common cause and a common vision, you are dealing with personalities.
Oh, yes, and I think I'm in that category too, because I'm a party person, and I believe that the Westminster system was based on party politics. This is the first time well, it's not the first time, because we've had independents but they acted like party when we had the unity team and all the teams in the 80s and 90s when we had the team era. But I didn't believe that independents would be able to form a government in Cayman. It's an anomaly, and it seems to be working. But the thing I gleaned from his speech was the the emphasis on getting Caymanians working. And some people might say that he should be a little tougher on the employers and people like that. But I think that Caymanians need now to step up to the plate, and they have time now. They have time now to get the kind of knowledge that they are required to have to be able to get those jobs that they say that they want to have. Because I think we're all fortunate to be living in the era where all knowledge since recording began the knowledge is just a classroom or a mouse click away. Because when I was growing up, we didn't grow up with World Wide Web, Apple, Google, and other such search engines. We grew up with the textbook and the use of the slate and the chalk, and the exercise book and the pencil, and the strap if that was necessary. That's how we.
In many instances, it was.
That's necessary. So now, I don't want Caymanians to let the premier down. I think it's time now to go to the training centers, the universities, to get as much knowledge as possible and to take their rightful place. Now he's opened the door, and go through it, go through the door, and go inside, and the boardrooms and the high offices and positions should be your goal. Should be what Caymanians are should be. Should be fighting and looking towards. There's no reason now not to get qualified and to learn all the things necessary to be able to have a good middle class life in Cayman.
Exactly. So he goes on to say, point he says, one cannot underestimate the impact that is made and the momentum that is created when individuals in their communities throughout the islands come together in their own neighborhoods, working to help their neighbors and care for their districts. I'm going to read that again because there's something coming from me after that. One cannot underestimate the impact that is made and the momentum that is created when individuals in their communities throughout the islands come together in their own neighborhoods, working to help their neighbors and care for their districts. Well, Mr. Premier, we can enhance that even more by getting those advisory district councils up and running. You talk about help, you talk about assistance, that is where it can come from, as well as advice. And it doesn't have to be advice that has to be followed, but it's certainly advice that can be taken into consideration. But that is getting those advisory district councils up and running will help in that regard. Went on to say, those seemingly small acts and demonstrations of community spirit by separate groups all combine to create a strong, united country that is heavily invested in the well-being and future of all its citizens. There are thousands of people in this country who live at the edge of poverty, one household bill away from not having enough money to pay the mortgage or the rent or electricity bill. Many face mental health challenges, and there are hundreds of people, Caymanians, who live in substandard housing conditions with no chance of improving their situation because rents outpace the earnings. Across all ministries, we share a commitment to putting social development, the health and wellness of our society, and the ability of our people to develop their full potential at the center of our decision making. Our vision for Cayman includes you as a business community, and we hope you will all join us as we commit to putting a sustainable community and country first. If each of us, whether industry, business, or individual, acts solely and consistently in our narrow self-interest, then we will accelerate inequality, delay or derail our ability to thrive as a community, and in turn sabotage true sustainability between our people, our planet, and our prosperity. It is no good for a select few to feast if the vast majority suffer famine. So again, the perfect words.
Oh yes,
yes. We just got to get them now into action.
Yes,
just got to put them into action.
Yes, he's trying to do. He's trying to break the bond of insular bigotry and insular that prevents us from moving forward, and that is a great thing. A lot of our leaders actually didn't do that. A lot of our leaders, what they did is that they carried their power to those people who already had economic, social, and privilege, and they gave the powers to them. And that is the reasons why we have the situation in which he has talked about. Well, where we have this imbalance in our society. We should not have an imbalance in such a small society that is so rich and so blessed. And I'm glad that he's building a citadel on a hill, and he's not building a town on Mount Trashmore.
Okay, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't know what the Premier's financial worth is, right? But I would venture to say that And there are politicians who have broken this mold, who don't fit that political leaders who haven't fit this mold at all. You have political leaders who are immensely rich, and they're looking to even enrich themselves even more. Their cronies, their family members, their business partners, and things of that nature. But you can also find political leaders who don't have that need and don't have that desire to continue to enrich themselves, and as a result of that can focus on uplifting those persons who find themselves in vulnerable positions, those who are living paycheck to paycheck, those who are one paycheck away from losing their homes, losing their cars, or whatever. And like I said, I don't know what the Premier's worth is, but I do not believe that his focus is on enriching himself or enriching, any other persons other than looking for the vast majority of those persons who find themselves on the other side of the fence.
Well, there's an old saying in law, when you get into law school and you study in the philosophy of law, and they teach you about how judges are selected. Mm-hmm. They say that you can tell a judge from the background where he comes from, where he went to school, what his family origin is, and you can tell what kind of judgments that you are going to receive from that from that judge. So it's the same. I say that I would transfer the similar thoughts to politicians. You also have to see where the Premier is coming from, his family, and where he's comes from, and remember that most of his family were also people who looked after other people. Mm-hmm. They were very generous to other people, his uncles and all of those people. His uncle, Mr. Ashworth, was a man who drove all the way to the north side and East End and all those places, picking up the thatch rope and changing it for groceries to people so they could eat. Even when he was not making a lot of money out of it, shipping it up to Jamaica. Mm-hmm. and his cousin, Mr. Orman, who dedicated most of his life to helping people. Mr. Orman died without any money. Mr. Orman didn't have any funds when he died, because he spent his whole life in the interests of the Caymanian people. And I think that at the end of his life, he was very disappointed that they didn't support him. And what he saw, the vision that he had. So that has a lot to do with it, not only his means, but that has a lot to do with it also.
So true. Thank you for that, Doc. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, conversation will continue, so please stay tuned.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience, and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacist will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to remind our listeners that our phone lines are open. Toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. Other lines 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us For the Record, one word, For the Record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261 as well. So the Premier also spoke about the environment, about climate change, about resiliency. He spoke in depth about that, and also spoke about economic matters. He went on to say that his government has reviewed and reforecasted government's current and projected financial position. He says, pointed out that we can't accurately plan for the future if we don't know what the cost of our actions or inactions are. And he expressed his thanks to the Deputy Premier and Minister of Finance for an updated forecast. He said that he thought that everyone in this room is thankful to the Caymanians and residents of these islands who have kept our economy going by supporting local businesses as well. And who have supported local businesses. He also pointed out that no reflection on of the past 16 months could be complete without an acknowledgement of the importance of financial services to the jurisdiction. Pointed out that said to them that their ability to remain open for global business during the height of the lockdown, whilst having employees working from home, played a key role in keeping the Cayman Islands economy going without hesitation. You two created and innovated, supported your employees, and I believe many of you learned that staff who work from home can be just as creative and productive, if not more so, than being in an office. He pointed out that their financial performance and government's coffers reflect the work of the financial secretary. He pointed out that his government recognizes the essential role that financial services are to our economy. Now more than ever, we seek to support, promote, and defend the industry as the list of threats and challenges continue to grow. He went on to say that is why the Cayman Islands has joined with 129 other countries and jurisdictions considered by the OECD to represent more than 90% of global GDP in the G20/OECD consensus for a framework of reform of international tax rules. The new two-pillar plan is directed at international corporate taxation rules to ensure that large multinational enterprises pay their share of tax wherever they operate, and that aligns with the Cayman Islands' long-held position that taxes should be paid where they are rightfully owed. Now, that was something that came out in the news last week before last, and it was essentially quiet that Cayman Islands was one of those 130 nations that had agreed to this new tax, the 15%. We hadn't heard a lot about that, but do we know what the impact of that is likely to be, on the Cayman Islands?
No, we have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then he went on to say that what sets financial services and many of your businesses on a sustainable path during the peak of the pandemic was the ability to provide services digitally. Being digital by default remains a critical aim of this government as well. He went on to say that information and communications technologies are changing how the public sector provides services to residents, visitors, and businesses in the Cayman Islands. It goes on to talk about e-government. To Abus, he says, we are replacing the Poor Persons Relief Law with modern financial assistance legislation, and the new Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development is moving forward with a national ID program, right? Good to hear that again, which will transform the way in which you conduct business with government. This should roll out in the early part of next year, 2022. We also recognize that the increase in digital and online businesses means an entirely new set of challenges for our Royal Cayman Islands Police service. Went on to say that crime has also gone digital, and so the police services continually ramping up its cybercrime resources. We love to lend our full support to the police to ensure that Cayman remains a strong, safe, and desirable place to live and conduct business. Goes on to point out that a strong economy must be underpinned by safety and consumer confidence. So I wish to acknowledge the police service for being innovative and moving with the times. Says the success of business in the Cayman Islands means the success of government and our economy. That success gives business an opportunity to create jobs for our people, and it gives our people an opportunity to contribute to the economic well-being of the country. Then he goes on to talk about that on economic matters, the government has reviewed and reforecasted government's current and projected financial position. He pointed out that we can't accurately plan for the future if we don't know what the cost of our actions or inactions are. He says, as I express thanks to the Deputy Premier for the updated forecast, I think everyone in this room is thankful to the Caymanians and residents of these islands who have kept our economy going by supporting local businesses. I know many businesses would not have survived without citizens shopping locally, taking staycations, eating out, supporting charitable events, and deliberately investing in our economy. He then spoke about the fact that next week that they will be tabling the 2022 to 2024 Strategic Policy Statement in Parliament, and then he talked about what that strategic policy statement is all about. We will continue to discuss this when we return. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Health City is now open at Camana Bay, offering a wide range of specialties at our state-of-the-art Camana Bay Clinic. We are here to help you save time and feel better. We are open weekdays, weekends, and evenings for your convenience and are dedicated to reducing your wait time while improving your health. Friendly staff, expert care, lab services, and diagnostics in one convenient location from the hospital you know and trust. Health City at Camana Bay, within your reach.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Planning for the hurricane season can be stressful, especially because COVID-19 remains a concern. To help you safely prepare, here's some tips from the Public Health Department. Have a fully stocked first aid kit. Make sure you have face coverings, hand sanitizers, and disinfectants should you need to evacuate to a shelter. Ensure a sufficient supply of medications for people with illnesses. Ensure immunizations are up to date, and when eligible, take your COVID-19 vaccine. Ensure a sufficient supply of food and clean water for every member of your family. For more guidance to update your emergency hurricane plans due to coronavirus, visit www.caymanprepared.gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField. We're going over and critiquing the Premier's speech at the legislative luncheon that was hosted by the Chamber of Commerce in the Cayman Islands. Before we went to the commercial break, I pointed out to you that the Premier then went on to talk about the strategic policy statement and the purpose of it, and then he also spoke about there was a slide working in partnerships, and he talks about working in partnership to achieve what we need to achieve in the Cayman Islands. But before we go there, Doc, we have a WhatsApp message from one of our listeners. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, but one of our listeners sent us a WhatsApp message and said, "Good morning. There were two places lines from the speech presented by the Premier at the Chamber luncheon. He said, I quote, "The planning board needs to have public open meetings, and we need to demystify the planning board," unquote. And then they went on to say, "It is to be noted that the CPA started having public open meetings some years ago, to which the Premier should have known before that public inaccuracy. Please inform the public that the last board conducted open public meetings and hope that the new board will do the same, as it is not required by law.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
but what the Premier is saying here, I think the probably the person here, what the Premier is saying is that he wants to continue to have open meetings, and I think that's what he's saying here. That is continue to have open. He wanted to be public, to have all meetings in public. Notwithstanding that is not required by law, he wants it to be that way,
and it to be highlighted as well. Because how many people do know? I mean, I understand what the writer is saying in terms of that it has always been public, but how many people know that it is public? Public, as well. Okay, We're getting some indication that people want to know, talk about crime and what's going to happen, about crime. We're hearing more and more, but we know that crime needs to be controlled in the Cayman Islands. We know some of the origins of crime, the recent crime wave. We still wait to hear from the authorities, Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, once their investigations have been concluded. Court cases have been, prosecutions have been dealt with and everything to really be able to discuss it. But, we don't have the finer details here. We can talk about crime in general,
but we don't have the facts and the details of events that have happened recently.
Yes.
And perhaps what we should do, what you should do. I mean, I'm not indicating how you should run your show, but what we can do is to get some of the brass from the police services here, sometimes to have a discussion with them about what their policy is going forward towards the crime in our country.
Yes. Definitely on that. Okay. Again, we want to share our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. I'm trusting that people are listening this morning rather than because we're not hearing too much, from them otherwise. But if you're just listening, then we certainly are going to continue to give you details. I know I'm getting some WhatsApp messages from my own number, but because I have on my screen the Premier's speech, when we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock, I am going to switch over and look at some of those WhatsApp messages that may be coming in on my phone as well. I want to find the part about we went through what he talked about sustainable resilience, national sustainability plan, the environment. I didn't go into detail in that, but the Premier did speak in detail about that as well. This. Okay, we have a caller? No callers, Ms. Susan? Okay. We don't want to give any dead air. Okay, I'm going to read this part. It says, everything that we do, everything that we propose is towards the betterment of the Cayman Islands as a whole. Just as the business community joined with the government in the suppression phase of the COVID-19 pandemic, we need you to join us in the rebuilding phase. As we prepare to reopen, let's continue to use this opportunity to build a better tourism industry and to better prepare Caymanians to populate this industry. I'm going to leave that for later because that is so important that we're going to focus more on that. We have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Osei.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Mr. Steve.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to pick up on what you just dropped off just now about we can discuss crime in general, which is what I think I want to do. I think the message must be given loud and clear from the public that we have zero tolerance for this growing gang violence and gun crime in our country. This should be a clarion call from the people to the authorities that we do not stand for that sort of stuff, and it cannot gain any ground or foothold in our small island nation.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, with that preamble, and that the authorities would have the support of the entire Cayman Island society, I'm wondering, because it's a fact that the police do know where these gangs, and in fact they know who the gang leaders and stuff are, but they cannot move in to arrest them because, you know, they haven't committed a crime until the gun goes off and somebody's dead. But I'm wondering, the public will endorse a zero tolerance for crime, and I'm wondering whether the police can seek some sort of digital surveillance of these gang members' phones to know what they're up to. Because, for example, that shooting that occurred in town a few days ago, a week or so ago, down by Martin Drive, that incident last night was a retaliation for that attack.
We don't know that?
We don't know that.
I know how to add 2 and 2 when you get 4, and I know that crime follows crime.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that is what is going on. You know, you touch my skin and you touch one of my gang runners or drug runners, and I'm going to take one of yours out too.
Mm.
And the public has got to give a clarion call to the authorities that we are not going to be standing for this sort of nonsense. And they have the full support to buzz their phones, to digital surveillance them, because they have got to be put away. They do not want to work. You can have all the programs at the Department of Workplace Opportunities and as residents, and they will not show up for no training. The only training that they want is to smoke ganja till 12 o'clock in the day and then commit crime from 2 o'clock until 2 o'clock in the morning. This has got to be stopped, and I'm putting out a call to every Caymanian out there, law-abiding Caymanian, which the majority of us are. We must make a clarion call to authorities to put a stop to this nonsense and to go the extra mile, surveil their phones, top their phones, and take them down. They are useless to society, and they are going to be the detriment of our entire society if we leave this foolishness alone.
Okay, thank you very much. Before you go, I just want to add to that as well. Yeah. We've heard a few weeks ago about somewhere near Schoolhouse Road, Eastern Avenue, and the robbing of a barber shop, and someone fired off a shot in there. There are factors that lead up to that. One is the numbers racket that's going on, right? Government needs to address that issue, and since it is so prevalent, need to look at legalizing it. And when it's legalized, you have licensed locations that will be able to sell numbers. But right now, you have situations where the police are expected to protect and to govern those persons who are engaged in illegal activity. So you have to address the illegal activity first, and then there's no reason then for individuals to want to hold up a barber shop or a numbers place, because it will all be done legally. Have about 30 seconds I can give you still.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think that's something that's been talked about for a while. I think we should legalize the numbers games because it's going on. But I don't think that this shooting that you see going on in these 2 locations that I mentioned earlier has anything to do with numbers. Mm-hmm. It has all to do with drugs and crime and somebody protecting their turf. And we have got to make sure that we don't have no dons and no gangs and no gang leader coming along thinking that he controls any part of this country. Zero tolerance, OC and Mr. Steve. Zero tolerance, and let's take them down.
Okay. Got you. Thank you very much for that. We've reached top of the hour. Headline news at 9 o'clock. We do have a few callers on hold, and we will take those callers as soon as we return. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Seymour Drive is closed this hour as police investigate the country's second fatal mass shooting in a week. Just after 1:45 this morning, police were called to a report of a shooting at Vic's Bar. 5 people were transported to the hospital with gunshot wounds, and a 6th was pronounced dead at the scene. On July 1st, 36-year-old Mark-Andre Ebanks was shot and killed in a late-night attack that also saw 3 others injured. A group of 28 foreign mercenaries, including retired Colombian soldiers, assassinated Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse earlier this week, according to local police. Several were detained after a gun battle at a house in the capital, Port-au-Prince, where they were holed up. Bloodied and bruised, suspects were paraded in front of media on Thursday, along with a slew of weapons. 8 more suspects are still on the run, and 3 others were shot dead by police. And the Taliban have captured a major border crossing between Afghanistan and Iran. Video footage appeared to show Taliban forces taking down the Afghan flag from the roof of a border customs office. The Islam Kala crossing is one of the biggest trade gateways into Iran, generating an estimated $20 million monthly revenue for the government. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Steve McPhail. We've been critiquing the Premier's presentation to the Chamber of Commerce, the legislative luncheon that was hosted there. And before we missed the opportunity, I'm going to back to the speech itself later on, but we're going to go to the big announcement that he made in relation to the safe reopening of the Cayman Islands and the plan, phases 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the welcome back phase as well. But we do have callers on hold, so let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Good. I'd like to just make basically 2 points. One is a follow-on from what the previous caller said. When he was inquiring about whether the police could do sort of electronic surveillance, he made a comment saying that until the gun goes off, no crime is committed. And I think embedded in that statement, I don't know if it's mistaken or an assumption, but if you think about the way the law is currently worded, in order for that statement to be correct, it would mean that the individual would have to be a lawful gun owner. And what I'm saying is that a crime would have been committed if it's unlawfully possessed, in which case surveillance could take place, intelligence could be obtained to capture the individual before the gun goes off. And the second point I'd like to make is that we need to look at the context in which crime is taking place in, and the contributory factors and not just look at what plan does the police have to do with this. When it reaches the stage that the police is interested in you, you're already way down the road of a life that's not beneficial. And I think that we need to try to head off people who want to go down the path of a criminal lifestyle. Why is it that people choose that route rather than the legal route? Is I think where our inquiry needs to be. So I'd like to hear if your guest has any comments on that.
Well, there are so many factors in discussing the subject that a lot of people lack education, a lot of people lack training, a lot of people who have training lack opportunity, a lot of people are unemployed, and a lot of people are unemployable because they do not have the wherewithal. They either the mental or physical ability to help themselves, even if they were employed. It has to do with sociologically with people, environment where they live, how they were brought up, and into what kind of families that they have grown, they come from, and whether or not those families perpetuate a chronic underworld position as their children are growing up. It depends on all of those things, and what we do not have here in the Cayman Islands is a national study, a national sociological study of the reasons behind it. I think some time ago, the late Edna Moyle, when she was the minister, tried to have a dialogue, creative investigation into the reason for crime among the youth, but that didn't get too far. And then there was other people brought in to look at the way we are socializing our people, and the way our society are engaged into the underworld. I think what we need is a comprehensive study of where we came from, how we got to be in this position, and what we need to do to go forward in the future with a peaceful society that's just, and that everybody has an opportunity, and everybody has the right to an education. Everybody has a good education in order to become at least lower middle class or middle class, and so that they do not have to engage in crimes, to be able to get food, or to get shelter, or to get transportation, or and so forth. That study needs to come. We've spent a lot of money on studying the offshore business, and to study the environment, and to study the economic system, but we have not done much on the sociological study in our country, and that is what we need, because crime itself, you don't just get up and do crime. And I look at a story on a movie many years ago. I can't remember what it was. I think it was about two brothers in the South who grew up together, and one went off to I think it's called a learning tree. I think if I could find it, I would try to ask people to try to find it on Google. It's called a learning tree, and it's about what happens in a community where one family goes one way and the other family goes one way. Or two kids who went to the same school, grew up in the same neighborhood. So we need to study this thing. We need to study this thing. We need to get recommendations that are not going to be put on the shelf, that we can go out and do something about it. because there's room here for everyone, there's enough for everybody, and there's no need for people to get into crime. Another thing that I would like to discuss with the caller is that there are two opiates, alcohol and the weed drugs, and our governments and other governments all throughout the world has accepted to make it legal for one of those opiates, and that's alcohol. They have not accepted the other opiate, which is the weed. It's time that we have a good talk about that, and we sit down and analyze that and see if something cannot be done about that also.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Doc. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, OC.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing? How are you?
I'm very thankful. OC, far too many times we seek to critique the police when crimes happen.
Mm-hmm.
But OC, if we look at these recent crimes, there is no one that can tell me that someone around the place did not have an idea or know who the individual was. The police cannot be aware at the same time. I mean, that's literally impossible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they can patrol the hot spots. Yeah, but who knew that 2 o'clock this morning or shortly after 1 that Vic's Bar would have been the hot spot? The police does not have the magic wand. But as I understand it, there was an argument which ensued, and subsequent to the argument, allegedly someone returns with a firearm. Now, there's no one that can tell me that someone on that scene did not see who the contention was between. So this morning, the police job should have been very easy. But in the community, what I'm seeing is that the community is slowly accepting and becoming more tolerant to crime than it was in my day, because in my day of policing, and you had crimes committed, the public was very, very eager to assist you in regards to what they know. Now, they would always say to you, and then, of course, we always respected that. Listen, I'm going to tell you something now, but don't tell nobody I said so. And on many occasions, while that was not significant enough to take the matter to court, it was enough for you to get that you were able to start a more precise investigation. So I believe that the public has got to understand that, and bear in mind that in order for the police to be effective and keep our streets free of crime or as crime free as possible, we, the public, need to engage the police in whatever we know so that they're able to conduct their jobs in the best way possible. So that is my contribution to this whole thing of crime, and I hope that those that are listening would realize and recognize, and I know that the ones that need to hear this is probably still in bed from last night. But we really need to engage the police. That is my contribution.
Certainly. Thank you very much for that as well. Very insightful. Ms. Susan, I think we have enough time to grab the other caller before we go to the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello?
Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello? Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. You always get me just for the break, and then you want to cut me off after 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, if you want to hold on, what?
Sure. go to the break. And
yeah, we'll go to the break and take him afterwards. Ms. Susan, let's go to the break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
The 7 a.m. news Monday through Friday is proudly sponsored by CG Britke Insurance, Health, Pensions, Life, where people come first.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller on hold and one caller queued up behind. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Thank you for that, Mr. O.C.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
You very much.
See, that always accommodating.
You know I got one. All right, sir. And Dr. Steve, I love listening to you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Bailey.
Now, I'm going to go back a few years. And I think you mentioned the Yolanda Ford report. That's what you were talking about a while ago.
Yes.
But that report was completed. And like the 1975 development report and Vision 2008, all things that would have been good for Cayman were shelved. And they were laid on the side at the government administration building to gather dust so that they could grow cassava on it. So they're agricultural reports. And they never went into them. And a good subject would be, Dr. Steve and Mr. O.C. Mm-hmm. You're not a doctor now too, Mr. O.C. That you would take that report. Mr. Woody DaCosta, before he was unceremoniously removed by the DART group when he and the Compass, when they bought the Compass and Randy's talk show went down, he had that right on his desk all the time. And he referred to it because you can go back to that and see where that very forward-looking report foresaw exactly the situation, the direction Cayman is going. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, the direction most of the leaders in the country are going because they are benefiting. And the type of society that both you gentlemen have pointed out, the unfairness to lots of sectors in our society. And if you got that report, it's downloadable. Just put in the name, it'll come down. And various places have it online. And if you were to take that report and start to study it, it's a long report, I think you would find a lot of enlightening to explain why we've ended up to where we are. I also go back to the time to do with tourism, and a certain tourism minister wanted bars, that opening hours for bars to be extended. And because you remember there was a time when we closed at midnight.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I had the pleasure of serving on the National Drug Council. Commissioner or Chief of Police, whatever he was then, Thursfield was on there at the time. And when that tourism minister suggested it in the name of tourism, supposedly, we all knew it had nothing to do with tourism, and it was personal. And we found out that when he looked at it, he said, they're extending these hours. Criminality after the current closing hours is going to go up. Are they going to provide funding for the police?
Mm-hmm. To cover that time, yeah. Mm-hmm.
To cover that additional workload on the police. And also to thoroughly examine the true cost of crime related to activities that take place around bars at night. And he was able, and we were able to get information at the time. The numbers may be wrong, but they're approximately correct. We were collecting something like $13 million from alcohol duties. And when we finished, different people on the board, and they involved different departments of government, which extended to like the cost of doing a death by dangerous driving in which alcohol is involved. You have the investigation, you have that's just the police work, the cost of the QCs to come down, the incarceration cost to keep the people in jail, the court costs, the cost for people that, because people are dependent on those that get incarcerated, they then go to NAU to get assistance, those costs, the medical costs for people that get sent overseas. There was a long list. I continue to itemize them, but you get the picture. That when you start to add it up, the additional costs and the cost of police and patrols in those hours of the morning, it was estimated. This is before the extending hours, by the way. At the time, it was costing a bit over $20 million that could be directly related to the consumption of alcohol. I have asked the National Drug Council, the current, if they could find that report. This was when Thursfield was there. It might have been the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around, or sometime in the 90s. But it was an interesting report. And if you notice, a lot of these events that happen after the midnight hours, between that and dawn, when these places are open. That's one aspect. The next aspect is, sir, the prison. We also look at drug
I need you to go fast because we have someone who waiting behind you. Need you to go quickly.
I got much longer I ever thought I'd get. In the prison, they know that drug consumption goes on. The attitude is that they have to do it to keep the prisoners calm. The only ones that get arrested up there are the ones that operate outside of the money tree system for getting drugs into the prison. That's the only one. It has nothing to do with law enforcement. And tobacco consumption on the prison, every time they light it up, they are violating the tobacco law, which says no consumption of tobacco on any government premises.
Got you. Okay. Mr. Billy, I want to thank you very much for that. I know you could go on and on, but we have to accommodate all the callers as well. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Steve.
Good morning, sir.
I think a lot more people need to appreciate Dr. Steve, too.
They're beginning to.
But I'll tell you what, I got into politics when I was in my 20s, and my main subject was to prevent crime. And I decided to work to inspire criminals to put their guns down. A lot of people decided to behave themselves. Quite a few of them changed their lives, and what happened to me, people fought against me when I got into the politics. And they said I was crazy, like what they say about Britney Spears. So guess what now? I can do what I have to do. I prefer music. I prefer the arts. And I don't think there's anything that will ever get me to run for office again. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Any more callers on hold, Ms. Susan? One more caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning. Good
morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. Having strength. Yeah, Mr. O.C., Dr. Steve, right?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. About 2 weeks ago, I called in the afternoon show, right? And I think Mr. McGrath hosting it. If I recall out, and I said, I know it's so difficult to open the border, right? You go open it in phases, a popular monitoring, okay? So let it be. And now, in that function country, right, the Chamber of Commerce literally dictates and call the shots. They're the shareholder. And Dr. Steve, early on, you mentioned the opioids, like the herbs, right? For instance, Mexico, right? That's recently decriminalized. And you know that state, Mexico, you know how they operate over there, right? In the last election, recently, 9% of the 50 candidates, they were sweet talk enticing of decriminalization of the herbs, right? And that's the end of the spectrum. However, they can take advantage of it now. Other countries realize it's a norm. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, in the herbs nada. You heard the more person to smoke it, no? You understand? To boil it, medical recreation, and anything about it, no? It is smart about it. Give me 1 minute. I need to go to commercial break or soon, right? Give me 1 minute now. And it's smart about it now. More like tourists come here, and they utilize the herbs too. So I know it's so difficult with it, right? They can look into that scope, that grandeur of it, intently look into it. So it comes from. And the gambling thing now, always that you got freed up. You need revenue, or other revenues. So I know came coming up, but they got free up the herbs. This will right? For years, they are discriminated. Right? The concert, the Kabu, in order to find for it, hello, you must order to use that to boost the momentum. You understand? Gentlemen, have a good weekend. Cool.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have another caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, O.C.
Morning. How are you?
Well, I got a comment on something, not concerning crime, really, but about traveling with the vaccine and returning to the Cayman Islands and quarantining. I make a long story by the way, and I came back last week Thursday, and I quarantined for 5 days. I have 2 vaccines, and I was tested before I left Honduras to come back in. I went up for general treatment, was there 4 weeks, and I was tested negative coming in. When I get in now, they take me in straight to my house, quarantine me for 5 days, and they never checked me. The test, on the 6th day I went for the test, fortunately or blessed I was negative, but they should have checked me as I got in. I would think if you got 2 vaccines and you're coming in negative, do what England, I think, and Canada is doing now. They check you as you get in, and you quarantine overnight, and next day you get your result negative, you're free to go.
You did a PCR test before leaving Honduras?
Yeah, 2 days before the flight.
Okay.
40 hours.
So you're saying that they should have checked you again when you arrived here in Cayman?
That's correct. They should check me again because I know a guy that went down on the flight to me. He came back 2 weeks later. He was vaccinated. He sent him home for 5 days. He left Honduras negative. He goes 5 days to be tested, to be checked, and he was positive. But he's back in quarantine for 14 days. That's the bad part about it, because if you had checked him when he come in, he would only had to do the 14 days before he was checked again.
Well, it depends on when. I wouldn't say that is precisely the case, because it depends on when actually that positivity showed up.
Well, it showed up after he was in quarantine for 5 days with 2 vaccines and negative before he left Honduras.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
I think what it goes to show you is that we cannot be too careful. And
yeah.
we have to follow the science, and we have to follow the advice of the medical experts. And we right now, it's not a guessing game because we see what is happening in other jurisdictions, so we know what to do and what not to do.
I'm not against what they're trying to do. It's just that when I arrive back here, I should be checked immediately again, not 5 days after I quarantine.
But they're putting you in quarantine anyway, right? For 5 days where you're not going to be in contact with anyone else. That is the 5-day precautionary period, so that if anything develops, they know it then. I think that one step about checking you when you're coming, they have done away with that because they realize at the end of the day that you're going to still be in quarantine and checked out within those 5 days.
But suppose I had come in positive.
Then you would have still been quarantined, and if you were showing any symptoms during those 5 days, I'm sure that you would have reported it, and they would have known that as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, OC, if I had come in positive, I could have passed it on to plenty of people in the airport right there coming in on the flight.
But aren't they taking necessary precautions when you're coming in as well?
Well, you go in, you sanitize your hand, and you got to wear your mask. And
Yeah. So that's all they can do at that point in time. And if you were proven to be positive, that's what they would do. What they would probably do is anyone who has come in contact with you, then place them in isolation as well.
If I had anything to do with it, I would check people coming in, then they go for the quarantine and check them after the 5 days again.
Got you.
To me, that's better precautionary measures what they're doing.
Okay, got you.
Anyway, that's what I want to bring up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to take a commercial break. Anyone on hold, Ms. Susan? 2 callers on hold. We will take those callers as soon as we return, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
Want to continue your education but don't have the money? UCCI has more than $100,000 in new scholarships, but you need to apply by July 16th. You may qualify for up to $4,000 per year, depending on your area of study. Several new scholarships are targeted at students with financial need. The money is there, but the deadline is approaching fast. Visit ucci.edu.ky/financial aid. Call 623-8224. Or visit the on-campus one-stop center for more information.
Celebrate Cayman is taking the Cayman Islands Seafarers Registry to local communities every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. until 5th August. Come out for a fun, family-friendly evening to learn about the Seafarers Registry, access complimentary health and wellness checks, share seafaring stories in the memory booth, enjoy seafaring-themed activities, socialize with seafarers, and more. The Celebrate Cayman Seafarers Registry Roadshow happening every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. until 5th August. Visit celebratecayman.ky for schedule and info.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Registry, Celebrate Cayman, the Lions Club of Grand Cayman, and the Department of Children and Family Services will be visiting the Veterans and Seamen's Society Hall in Cayman Brac on Thursday, the 15th of July.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. 2 callers on hold. We will take those callers. Mr. Billy, if you're still out there listening, you have a lot of fans. This particular fan said, good morning. I was enjoying listening to Mr. Billy Adams' input, which was very interesting and insightful. In fact, I always enjoy listening when he calls in and wish he would do so more often and that he would be a guest host, as he has so much knowledge about our islands and other pertinent matters, as well. So you have fans out there, Mr. Billy, and we love to talk with you as well. And unfortunately, the time that you really require to talk about some of the issues, we just don't have that much time in a 2.5-hour show as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Am I on?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, yeah. Good morning to both of you, including Dr. Steve.
Good morning, Mr. Samamba.
Yes, please. I've been following. Well, first of all, I'm another fan of Billy Adam. He's a wealth of knowledge about Cayman and just where Cayman fits in within the geopolitical situation there. But I've been following, in addition to what Billy has been saying, what the other callers have been saying, and what you've been saying as well regarding ganja and it giving a criminal record and so on. What I want to comment on, though, is the exercise of the prosecutorial discretion in Cayman. I think there's need for some reforms there. There was a very good write-up in the Cayman News Service by somebody who said, look, there's need for a manual where you can, there will be policies which guide the exercise of the discretion, and then there can be a body which can check the exercise of the discretion. Now, you can't tell the DPP what to do because that's unconstitutional, but you can have a body at least which looks at the practices and can make comments on that. By the way, while we're talking about this, having seen the video of Mr. Bush's matter, if I had been a prosecutor, I would not have prosecuted. I would have exercised the discretion not to prosecute, but to make all my evidence available to the lady in case she wanted to bring a civil action, because clearly it was a totally confused situation there, and I think he was being possibly prosecuted more for the previous things he had done rather than on the day. But the main thing that I called about, there is this lady who is being prosecuted from the portfolio of legal affairs. It is a court case, so I can't comment about the court case itself. But I want to comment about it from the perspective of the exercise of the judicial discretion. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, she should never have been prosecuted. In my opinion, what they should have done is either disciplined her, suspended her, warned her and tell her, if you do this again, like hiding the file relating to the child, if you do this again, then we'll prosecute you. Apparently that didn't happen, at least from the summary we heard in court. Now they have brought in a former DPP to come and prosecute her. And do you see how now, and I want to relate that very quickly now, I know I've been on.
If I can interrupt you 1 second, though, yes, Billy, yes. But what would be the flip side of that if they had decided not to prosecute, word have gotten out in that regard, and then they say, people say, oh, they prosecute those on the outside, yes, but when something happens on the inside, so there's a flip side to that as well.
Okay, yes, there is a flip side, but you see, to me, in a lot of modern societies now, you are not prosecuted the first time they see that you are doing something. For example, if you are harassing somebody, like calling them and so on, the police would warn you, stop doing this or we will prosecute you. It's not like an assault where you've already assaulted somebody and they have to prosecute you. Yeah. In this particular case, they would have warned her in writing and say, this is a formal warning. If you don't stop this, we will prosecute you. and then if she doesn't, then they go ahead and do that. But apparently,
but wouldn't that be deemed to be perverting the course of justice?
Yes, that's what she did.
That's serious. That's a serious offense. I mean, you're the lawyer, but I'm just wondering.
Well, I'm not even questioning the fact that it is perverting the course of justice. What I want to do is, in fact, make a comparison between that and the other cases. For example, you remember, yeah, that was my real point. You know, you remember the police officer who was who is supposedly assaulted another police officer.
Yes.
And then yes, there was an issue of whether he should be prosecuted. They never prosecuted the person. Okay. They transferred the person to the BRAC, and the other police officer was forced to bring a civil action. And in that civil action, that police officer was successful. In other words, he proved that he had been assaulted. You tell me, therefore, what's the difference between that case and the case which is taking place in the portfolio of legal affairs? I think that is wrong. And then you will see that now that mother who has now been prosecuted, she can't get a job. Law is a very sensitive kind of situation. She has been charged. Even if she's acquitted, I don't see her going back. I don't see her being employed. Her son, if the son now has got a record for ganja, which we are still prosecuting, when alcohol is legal, as Dr. Steve was pointing out, then you will see that family slowly, probably the child going into crime. The child, to that police officer, if he has any children, that one won't face that because the person still has a job and they will continue living on, and more likely their trajectory in life will be towards success rather than failure. And then at the end of that, they will say, Caymanians are prone to crime. That is not right. I think we need to work on these situations because they are part of the root causes of the crime. I don't question that there may be an offense committed, but just we have to be fair the way we treat people.
Good
That's
point.
the point I wanted to make.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Billy. Miss Susan? One more call. So we're going to take that caller, then we're going to close off the phone line because I want to go over these 5 phases for reopening the Cayman Islands. I think that's extremely important for those persons who were not able to hear the Premier's address yesterday or to follow it since then as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm wondering if, because I haven't been listening, I'm wondering if you all had got the news of the overnight dust up somewhere in Georgetown.
Yes, we did.
Because I got it off, not from the Mall Road, the Cayman Mall Road, but I got from Mall Road that something had happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to tie that into the, I don't know what to call him, the ganja rep.
Yeah.
And say again, Charlie saying no. Hell no. And I'm gone.
That's all? That's it? You're gone? You're going to leave us?
Yeah, I'm gone. No. The answer is still no.
Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
I agree with you. Okay, so we have enough time that we can go. Doc, I'm going to share my iPad with you. Mm-hmm. And that has the various phases. That has the various phases of the reopening plan. And I've skipped over some of the things that the Premier said in his speech. I'll have other opportunities to do that, but I want to share the reopening plan. So phase 1 of the reopening plan, he says that we are on course now in phase 1. That's actually from June. He says this phase features continued local uptake of the COVID-19 vaccination and low COVID-19 prevalence rates in key Cayman travel markets, which has allowed for the introduction of reduced quarantine periods and other travel restrictions. However, the borders remain closed and travel is supposed to be allowed for essential reasons only. And the specific aspects of that phase 1 include entry PCR testing is required for all. A negative PCR test result is required to exit quarantine. And we heard a caller before talking about the fact that he felt that a test should be administered on arrival as well. The verifiable certified vaccinated travelers have a 5-day quarantine period. Unverifiable vaccinated travelers have a 10-day quarantine period. Unvaccinated travelers have a 14-day quarantine period. And as of the 1st of July, government began paying for quarantine at a government-run facility only for those who are conducted essential travel. We do have a caller. Let's take that caller before we go to the break, and then we're going to close the phone lines off. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am very grateful. And good morning, Dr. Steve.
Good morning, ma'am.
And I must say that I missed you so much, but I tuned in as much as I could, and especially every morning that OC had you on. Because every time I listen to you, I get a new degree. So it's a pleasure, and happy to be back home, that I can tune in live and listen to you again.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And you too, OC. But I wanted to just follow up on something that one of your callers had said regarding the inbound testing and so on. And what I would like to say about that is, I know that obviously maybe it was a economic decision, but I think it was a poor health decision in stopping the inbound testing. I believe that should have been continued, even if the passenger had to pay for that test, rather than having the person get tested before they come into the island. Clearly, we can see people are finding a way around that, and what we call Bandulu test results are being produced. That's why people are testing positive upon their departure from, or upon their expected departure from quarantine. And the only way you can curtail that, I believe, is to reintroduce the inbound testing. At least that way, Cayman has control over it, and they know that a proper test was done. And besides that, they really don't know, what inconvenience stuff that is putting patients, I'm speaking about patients, not people who are traveling in here for non-essential reasons, the inconvenience it puts them through, trying to run up and down. Some are not able to get the test done. And also, they need to really, really have a good look at who is traveling and the purposes of travel. Because I can tell you from experience and what I have listened to and observed, these are not essential. That's a major problem there, and they might want to relook that situation. Now, I'm not absolutely sure how it's going to turn out or work out. I understand, based on trying to keep in touch with what was happening at home, that, if you weren't tested in Cayman or the UK, you don't get the 5-day quarantine. It's 10 days if you were done in the U.S. At least I know the U.S. being one of the countries. I don't know if it's being, considered from where else. But the U.S., if you were, not tested.
Vaccinated,
If you were vaccinated in the U.S., that you do 10 days until they can verify that back a proper vaccination. So the same goes for that test, But they need to consider that. And because, for example, I was vaccinated in the U.S., and in the beginning, I was told that I would do 5 days. And then on the 22nd of June, when the new protocol was going to come into effect, the 23rd, that changed, and it became 10 days. I don't have a problem with my quarantine period. Quite frankly, it gives me a chance to get some rest and don't have to deal with people and so on, because I love my own company. But anyway, they might want to, like I say, revise a lot of these things, and starting with who they are allowing to come in the island. They say it's for essential travel only, and I am here to tell anybody that the travelers are not all essential. And patients are up in Miami, stuck, cannot get home because the flights are full. Okay?
Okay.
All the flights are full. Being a patient gives you no priority. So they need to relook this whole thing. And I could go on and on and on, but I can stop there for today because I know you're running out of time. But I just heard that person, and I thought I would just follow up on that.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you. Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much for that. We're going to take our commercial break, and the phone lines will be closed off. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast, and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals, and being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to McGrath's grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments July 12th through 23rd at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited, whether you're seeking advanced skincare, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. We've closed the phone lines off because we want to share with you the various reopening phases. I pointed out to you phase one, the phase that we're actually in now, and Dr. McField will tell you what phase two involves. Doc?
Phase 2 will become effective on the 9th of August.
Get that mic a little closer to you.
Phase 2 will become effective on the 9th of August. And phase 2 will involve easing the monitoring of vaccinated travelers by the removal of the GPS monitoring that you have on you. And it will allow the government to assess local impacts and build capacity to manage the increase in traveler volume anticipated with the opening of the borders in phase 3.
Okay.
And
all business, there's something about businesses there. All businesses will be required to adhere to safety protocols used by regulators and industry, which comply with the Caribbean Public Health Agency guidelines. Okay, go on to phase 3.
Phase 3 is limited introduction of tourism. That will come into effect on the 9th of September 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, subject to the achievement of 80% vaccination rate, the limited introduction of tourism during slow seasons with some restrictions, including a flight slot management system, which will allow the Cayman Islands government to limit numbers of persons arriving. And this also allows the government and the industry to develop the capacity for dealing with larger volumes of travelers in preparation for the coming high season.
Okay, and he also went out, he expanded in his speech on it and said, also we are doing this during the traditional slow season with some restrictions, which include the flight management that he talked about. He says also this allows for the government and the tourism industry to develop capacity for dealing with larger volumes of travelers in preparation for the high season. He says during phase 3, our borders will be open to securely verified vaccinated travelers except for cruise travelers. So cruise travelers are out of that
and then
as well.
Phase 4, it's intended to reduce the quarantine restrictions, and that will be effective on the 14th of October.
Okay.
And quarantine requirements will be removed for all securely verified vaccinated travelers. And it is anticipated that the rate of local vaccination will be substantially adequate to allow for the safe increase in tourism and further relaxation of restrictions. That will be that phase. Do you have something else to add to that?
It says that during vaccine phase 4, unvaccinated travelers will continue to be required to apply for entry on the Travel Cayman portal. Vaccinated travelers will be required to make a declaration of travel and include their vaccination status on the Travel Cayman portal with a declaration certificate issued and vaccination checks on arrival. Public gathering limits may also be decreased at this time, depending on whether there are any increasing public health risks. Additionally, during phase 4, there will be fines mandated for travelers failing to abide by this process, and school staff will be required to undergo surveillance PCR testing.
And then phase 5 comes into effect on the 18th of November, and it will affect travel. It will allow travel for unvaccinated children. And it says unvaccinated children under age 12 will be allowed to travel with vaccinated adult tourists or vaccinated adult parents. Mm-hmm. Cruise tourism remains prohibited in phase 5.
Okay. And then safe reopening, welcome back. That to be reassessed 27th of January 2022. He said we will first assess the COVID-19 situation on the 27th of January of 2022 in a local and international context to determine when and how to proceed with further relaxation of restrictions and travel. If the assessment allows, we would begin to welcome all travelers and start the reintroduction of cruise tourism. It is anticipated that at this point there would no longer be any quarantine restrictions for any travelers, no restrictions on public gathering limits or public transport capacity, and no restrictions on certain business operations such as the rental of scuba and snorkeling equipment, use of hookahs, water pipes, and so on as well. And then goes on to say the reopening plan, as you have seen, our plan takes a phased approach which allows assessment at each phase. Assessments will be based on medical science and data to indicate to us either to progress or change our plans before we move on to the next phase. We must remember that even with this careful and phased reopening approach, there will be risks. As we have done throughout the pandemic, we will manage these risks together in partnership as a community guided by public health. We have to realize that we may reach a juncture where some of the prior restrictions may be introduced, and we may have to wear masks. There will be regular testing of those on the front lines and possibly some dialing back of public gathering limits. That is all aimed at not recklessly throwing caution to the wind. To date, no country has successfully reopened without having to go back to some form of lockdown or restrictions. And one of the things that I want to mention here, the Premier mentioned the lack of data. And of course, data is extremely important in terms of decision making. But I recall that after Hurricane Ivan in 2004, ECLAC, Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, were here in the Cayman Islands. Their representatives were here in the Cayman Islands to try to assess the damage done by Hurricane Ivan, to place financial, monetary values on the damage and everything else. And the clarion call at that time was also the lack of data. So here we are 17 years later, and we're still talking about the fact that, we don't have the available data.
Yes.
But yet the civil service, to a certain extent, has grown. We have created more departments. We have created more ministries.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it that we still are challenged with having data and the correct data and being able to pull that data out? And one of the glaring examples is that we don't know what the population of the Cayman Islands is.
At any time.
Yeah.
At any time, much less now.
Okay, I want to give you an opportunity for final points, and you may want to incorporate that into it, Doc, the data.
Well, I think that the Premier, by his eloquent speech and his in-depth analysis of the situation, is trying to help us to build a nation where transparency and opportunity have a rule of law and not a rule of thumb for some. I'll stay there. And I believe that we can begin by small steps, by embracing small steps, because I think that one small step today will result in a giant step tomorrow. And I believe that the anchor for technology, science, and research that we ought to have in building data and having all of that out of our fingerprints, that's what we need. Because if we come together in unity, with respect, we can do anything. We've shown ourselves that we can do that. Some of us are unfortunately the descendants of a people who endure the worst subjugation of man by man on this planet. Mm-hmm. So in the most generous interpretation of the Darwinian theory of survival, we should be ready by now to go to the next level, which the Premier wants to take us. So let optimism be our motto so that we can continue to generate symbols of hope and not symbols of capitulation.
Doc, I want to thank you very much for that, for those closing comments. Very poignant. I want to thank you for being here again. And just to remind the public that Doc is now just a few steps away from Radio Cayman. His office is now located in Elizabethan Square as well.
And we don't have our phone lines and our internet is hooked up yet, but our new telephone number will be 946 3020 946 3020 3020 3020
3020.
Yes.
Got you.
3020.
Okay. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh. Health City, now open at Camana Bay 7 days a week.
The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's